How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Tea Talk episode 3. Of course, I'm joined here by my co host, Dana. We're here
What's
today.
up?
We're going to kick some ass. We're going to talk about some stuff. And we're probably going to get lost in some sort of tangent. I really haven't decided yet. We'll see what happens when we get there. Dana, how are you? What did you do today? What was your day looking like?
My day was good. Went to class today. Had a blast. Short class, always the best
We
class.
got to love those 26-minute class periods. You got to love that.
Yeah. I went to Chick-fil-A. I got more food than usual. I kind of went back to my freshman year style of eating.
Mhm.
That was good. The chicken club there is actually really good. If you
That's
haven't had that.
usually what I get.
Really?
If I don't get the chicken nuggies, I'll get the chicken club.
Dude, the chicken club is so good. And I've been getting the spicy chicken for a while, and that was good. But you get old of just the old kind of crispy. I don't know what is it like the fried kind of food.
Yeah.
So kind of like the fresh grilled chicken with the tomatoes. Tomatoes always get me on burgers and stuff. That's my favorite thing.
You like
So
the tomatoes on the burger.
love tomatoes.
A lot of people like taking that off. A lot of people
I
like
know they love
I think it's an
lettuce.
essential part of a burger.
100%. I mean, it's not that I don't like lettuce on burgers. I do. It just depends. You have to have really good lettuce to make it good, and a lot of times I feel like the lettuce waters down the taste.
And you don't like that in and out lettuce. I already know that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like it gets rid of most of the taste. So it's not that it's bad. It's just it's not great.
Did you hear YouTube is starting to supposedly shadow ban some pretty big creators
Like who?
like Linus Tech Tips, 15.3 million subscribers.
Shadow banned,
Like
in what sense?
he posted, nobody got notified, including the people that had notifications on, things like that. And it wasn't just on one video; it's been happening to multiple videos of his, and it's also coming out. Other creators are coming out and talking about it as well. So, do you think that maybe YouTube has had enough of these big channels, or do you think they're trying to usher in new channels? Why do you think that this is happening?
Do you think it could be a bug or
It
just a
could it
glitch?
could it could totally be a bug. It could totally be a bug. The only thing is there are reports of YouTube being shady when they're asked about it, because each one of these big channels, they have reps, right? They have reps at these
Mm-hmm.
companies. They have reps at YouTube that they have a direct line to that they contact. So they've said that they haven't been getting straight answers, or answers have been different to everybody. So that's what's making me think that it's leaning more towards a shadow ban, that it's more of a forcible thing rather than just like a random glitch or mishap on the site. Um, but do you think that what? Why? Why do you think that they're doing this?
That's a good question. I'm not so quick to blame them for it. Because I would think it would be a bug.
Yeah,
Um, but if they were to shadow ban people, it could be that they're trying to test things out with the algorithm and test out kind of I guess uh new programming. But I don't think that they would deliberately do that. Um,
now, do you think that them testing even if they were testing, like you said, them testing a shadow ban thing, do you think that's something that creators and other creators should be worried about?
I don't think there should be any sort of shadow banning. If you're gonna ban someone, ban them outright
Yeah, I
and
agree. I agree 100.
be
percent
upfront with it. So yeah, I don't think there should be any shadow banning.
Yeah,
But if they're going to test things out, I think it would be nice if they kind of notified people that they were doing that.
yeah.
Um, but then again, I don't think they have to.
Mhm.
Um, it's just one of those things. It's kind of annoying working with I guess like a third party to host your content on, even though YouTube is such an awesome platform. So
I think it is an awesome platform. I think you raise a great point there. The only issue is that I feel like it's been the only platform for too long.
it's not the
No,
only platform. It's
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 the
just
only
the
it's the
best
main
one
one. It's the
overall.
best one, but the problem is I feel like they get it's not right to have a successful platform, I believe, social platform, videos, pictures, whatever you want to post. I think you need to look at the Elon Musk model of things. I think you let the community, you let your community on the platform decide, do I like this content? Do I not like this content? Do I, and at that point, make them not see the content. I don't think that banning people just because I don't agree with them is a great idea at all. I think that is probably the stupidest thing that's ever existed. And I think, frankly, people who want that or subscribe to cancel culture, for example, I think, honestly, those people's opinions shouldn't matter at all.
Yeah,
Because
but
because if
I
they want
mean,
to silence these other people, how would they feel if they got silenced? Right? They don't
yeah,
take the time to look at that aspect of it. Oh, I want to get rid of this person because this person says this. Well, what if that person wants to get rid of you because you say that? Right?
mhm.
It's the same thing. It's a double-edged sword, but at the same time, I feel like now cancel culture, the shadow banning thing, I feel like it's really going to lead us towards a bad path, and all of our content's going to be curated for us rather than freedom of expression, and things of that sort. It's not going to be what I want to post. It's going to be what I'm being told to post. And what do you feel about that?
It's already like that.
You think it's
But
already like that?
it's 100% already like that because they'll cut your monetization if they don't like it.
Yeah.
Which again, based on the way the laws currently are, they can totally do that.
Yeah, it's
Like
it's
that's
it's their
100%
business. It's
fine.
up to them. But do you think that? Well, obviously, I think I already know your answer, but I'm going to ask you anyways, just for the
Yeah.
audience who may not know your answer, who may not know
Mhm.
my answer. Um, Now, do you think that's right? Do you think that there should be any form of censorship, things like that?
No. But again, I also think that corporations should have rights to um, take care of their own stuff.
Yeah,
So that's why I think it would be good for other platforms to exist. However, y- Google is such a giant,
yeah.
entity that it's basically impossible for anyone else to reach YouTube's level of success.
Now,
Especially like with all the creators on YouTube. Like there's creators on other platforms, but they have to also have a platform on YouTube because they won't make enough money to survive off of YouTube unless they're getting donations or other forms of content. And that's why YouTube's so awesome. People can just create content. Eventually, they get monetization if they're good enough, and they can make money. And it's really not that hard as long as you know how to um, build an audience and make decent enough stuff. You can be monetized and you can make money. So, but none of these other platforms have the the ability to get to that point because YouTube is such a massive platform. They've got all the ad revenue. Um, I think it's Google AdSense, right?
yeah, Google AdSense, they
Yeah.
they they brought it under one whole umbrella. It made more
Mhm.
sense. Why have a separate system for YouTube when you already have a separate system with Google? It made zero sense. They brought it under one umbrella, which was great. It was a
Yeah.
smart business move, but at the same time, I feel like that system is entirely flawed. I feel like I feel like the monetization thing in itself is entirely flawed. For example, obviously, you guys that are watching, Dana, you know this, I know this. Like this is, I mean, I post content, guys. Why are there ads on my videos that I'm not getting paid for? Why do I have to hit a certain number of views in order to get paid for that? Because
Yeah,
you're
that's
already
that's
using
actually
my
stupid.
content. You're already using my content to project these ads. So I might as well. And I understand that I'm using your platform, but at the same time, you wouldn't have that platform to put your ads on if I didn't put my video on there. So I think that's
Right. And
something that YouTube really needs to look at. And honestly, it's really it's frustrating because my
do you,
channel has over a couple thousand more than a couple thousand. I think we broke 10,000 views on just on the short side alone. But it's like, what's the point? What's the point if I'm not gonna see any gain or anything like that, but I'm still getting ads or my viewers are still getting ads swiping through my feed. That's I find that ridiculous.
do you think that the reason why they have that policy in place at the moment, with not giving you monetary gain, I guess, unless you reach a certain threshold, do you think that's because they can't or they don't have enough resources to necessarily monitor what you're posting
See,
to make it like
their
fit for ads?
content moderation is right out of the box. So as soon as you go to post on YouTube, it's going to check a certain amount of things, see if it's eligible for monetization. They do that already out of the box right away automatically. So they check for copyrighted music. They have really good systems that do this stuff. But I don't see a reason why they can't give these smaller creators, including myself, because I'm a small creator. I'm not a medium creator. I'm not any of that. I'm not a huge creator. I'm a small creator. It's they in order for us to be able to maintain being creators, I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people drop out. They don't really see any return. They don't see anything like that. I'm not saying that I make content exclusively to make money. It's just we put so much work in on the side of content creation when it comes to streaming, shorts, all this stuff. I have a team behind me. It's not just me. Those of you who know me from the streaming and from YouTube and things like that, I have a manager, I have an editor, and I need to be able to maintain those people. I need to be able to maintain that team. And one way that I do that is I need to pay them. So how am I supposed to pay them if I'm not making money? That's kind of the agreement that we have right now. So every time I get a payout now for any of my socials or anything like that, most of that payment's going to them just because I know more people are seeing ads than what I'm getting paid for, especially on Twitch is where I want to move towards next because it's in the same exact realm. Lots of streamers are moving over to Kick. It's the truth of it. A lot of big streamers are moving over to Kick and medium-sized streamers. And that's because their revenue model is fucking insane. It's nothing
But they're not exclusively on Kick, are they?
Some of them have exclusively moved over. Some of them have. Some of them
Did
dual
they make
stream.
a deal?
Some of them dual
Kick?
stream. Some and of course some of them have gotten contracts from Kick. Some of them have not. Those people that have not can jump back and forth, but at the same time they're choosing to stay on Kick because of that crazy revenue. I mean, you sit there and you're like, oh yeah, as a creator, maybe I should get 70% of the revenue. And on Twitch, I see that I am getting paid out pennies, and I'm having 10 people view the stream or max of 7 to 10 viewers. There's no way I'm only making a cent or 2 cents for these ad breaks that I'm running, especially now that I've doubled the amount of volume of ads in order for me to make 55% in the ad revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason though, why a lot of people haven't fully gone over to Kick yet, just like a lot of people haven't switched from like YouTube to Rumble or any of the other you know YouTube alternatives. Um, Again, it's the audience and the money is not there. Like
That's
Kick
why I
does
didn't
not have the
switch.
same audience as Twitch yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think it ever will unless something catastrophic happens at Twitch.
I don't think
Um,
something catastrophic is going to happen at Twitch just because you said YouTube.
I don't think so either. It's
YouTube is
backed
already
by
such
Amazon.
a exactly. YouTube is owned
It's
by
too
Google.
big to fail.
Twitch is owned by Amazon. I mean, these are companies that are not going to fail. I mean, we're never going to see them fail. There's still a way too many Twitch accounts signing up every single day. Same thing's happening to Kick. That's great, but I feel like Kick's going to get sued soon because they've stolen Twitch's website 1-1. I don't know if you've seen it or if you looked at it at all. It's a 1-1.
I've never gone on Kick.
Pull it up right now on your other monitor. Pull it up right now.
Yeah.
It's a 1-1 solid straight copy of Twitch. They literally just copy and pasted the code. There's no difference. Except the logo. There's no difference.
It's literally Twitch.
It's literally a 1-1 copy of Twitch.
Yeah, there's nothing different about it.
So
yeah, they'll probably get sued.
They'll probably have a problem with that, but that's why I'm choosing to stay with Twitch for now. It's already the solidified platform. It's already a platform that it works for me. I have my community there. And that's a lot of work for a content creator. Moving over platforms, you're going to lose a percentage of your viewers. It's just what happens. People don't want to...
A large percent of your viewers, probably.
If you're going to be the only person that they watch that moves over to Kick, they're not going to follow you. And that's kind of sad because, the way that I like to stream, I really hope people come to watch my content for me, not just the game I play. Obviously, that's never going to happen. We don't live in a perfect world. But, I mean, moving over to Kick, these streamers moving over, they're making big mistakes if they're moving over exclusively. I dual streamed for a bit. I didn't really like it, so I just stayed with Twitch. If there is a chance, maybe I go back to Kick. Maybe Dana starts.
It's hard to manage.
It's
hard to manage the dual stream thing because you have 2 different chats. You have all of that stuff. It would be nice if there was an app that had it all merged into one.
So
to make it
if
easy.
I'm not mistaken, Streamlabs does have a combined stream channel.
They might,
They have a merged.
but
Stream channel.
I don't think Streamlabs is perfect with the
I don't.
way their UI is.
I don't think Streamlabs is perfect either. But now that I've been using it as long as I have, and now that I have the premium features and all that stuff, because I paid the whatever X amount a month, um, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I really like it. I've been able to use and learn more, and it's been pretty cool. It's been really really cool learning how to do all this stuff. I really content creation within itself. I've learned so much. How to use Streamlabs, how to do other things. You really have to look at it like marketing. I mean, honestly, guys, you don't want to hear this. Obviously, nobody wants to hear it. If you want to be a content creator, you have to think of the money. You have to. Even if you don't think about it mostly, you have to think about, the time you're putting in. What are you getting back, right? It sounds shitty. It sounds shitty. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's realistic. If you want to be a content creator, if you want it to be feasible for a day-to-day job, you need to look at these things like a business, right? You need to worry about marketing. You need to worry about your team that's behind you. You need to worry about, your viewership, your retention, your numbers. Landshark and I, we meet, every couple of weeks just to go over numbers, just to see, oh, how many average viewers do we have this week? How many average viewers? How many unique viewers on the stream? How did we do this differently than this? Why is this getting more views than this? That's what these big creators did, like Mr. Beast, Ludwig. They memorized the system. They figured out every little thing. I mean, and that's why they're killing it right now, especially Mr. Beast and Ludwig, those two specifically, because Ludwig would take all of his free time when he wasn't at work and would learn Twitch. What did people like to see? What had the trends? Mr. Beast did the same thing with YouTube, and I wanted to see. Do you think that's why they have such great success now? Because they took that time and did all that research early? Or do you think that they just got lucky?
I think it's a bit of both. Um, they already had to have a base viewer count to be able to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I don't know much about Ludwig, but I've seen like a Mr. Beast interview where he talked about um, how he kind of blew up.
Yeah.
And he had a video go viral pretty early on. So you have to go viral at some point, I think, to get your feet off the ground. So you have to figure out some way of beating the algorithm and getting yourself on the front page somewhere to blow yourself up, to get exposure. Part of that is being on multiple platforms and spreading yourself out. But that only goes so far. Eventually, you have to get everyone in one area, wherever you're streaming, wherever you're posting content, get everyone into that location, and then you can figure out how to market that, how to game the system to get yourself to climb the ladder.
I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Having everybody in one generalized thing, and that's why a lot of these content creators, including myself, we have these Discord servers, including you. We have their Discord servers. The Discord server is the hub. Like, it's literally, they get to talk to you. They get to do whatever they want. They can message. They're talking to other fans. And if you have a fan, and another fan joins your server, and they start talking, if they both like you, that's something in common. So, I mean, at the same time, you're building a community. You're building an actual community. It's not just people that are following you at this point. It's people that met because of you. You brought them together, and that's really why I got into it. I wanted to meet more people to play games with and stuff like that. That's how Dana and I met, funny enough. He just messaged me randomly one day because I play Tarkov. And then now we're best friends. I mean, we do everything together. There's not a day that I don't see Dana. We literally do everything together.
Pretty much.
We work together now too. I mean, it's great. It's great. It's just now I feel like it's in a weird spot. Content creation is in a weird spot. Everybody did it over COVID. Everybody tried to make it big. But what really gets me upset are these people that teeter-totter, on the edge. What did Twitch start off as, man? It started as a live streaming for gaming, for little things, for hanging out with your buddies live, stuff like that. It had a really cool concept. It had a small niche community feeling. Now everybody's doing it. And now you got these hot tub streamers. Yeah, you get these fucking hot tub streamers. Don't even get me started on the hot tub streamers. You know how much I hate them, but it's like,
Yeah, I mean, and it somehow they always end up on the front page
exactly.
for everyone to see.
Dana, guys, no joke. Dana sent me a Discord message one day. He screenshotted his Twitch, and he goes, "Bro, why is my recommended exclusively hot tub streamers?"
Yeah,
Obviously, we
yeah.
fucked with them.
And I
We were
wasn't
like, "That's
signed
all
in.
you." Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
signed in.
So why is that stuff getting recommended, especially when he's not signed in? Because how does Twitch know that a kid's not seeing that? Man? That's the thing that I care about more. I don't want like a 13-year-old to go like, on a platform that isn't supposed to be serving mature content and seeing a half-naked woman or man.
But it's not
sitting in a hot
considered
tub.
mature. It's not considered mature.
It's
yet.
not mature. Yeah, but that's the problem. They are supposed to actually. Have you seen? Twitch made a statement. They're supposed to put 18 plus in their streams.
But
they
still,
don't.
Like,
A lot of them
they
don't.
because it restricts all the viewership.
Exactly.
So it's
and
like,
how many of these donos and stuff and bits that they're getting do you think is some 12, 13-year-old kid with his mom's credit card?
I don't think it's 12 and 13. I think it's more upper teenage, like high school.
High school,
Like it's
you
mostly
think?
high school kids. Yeah.
I mean, I think they promote
And-
degeneracy. I
and
think they
college kids.
promote. Honestly, hear me out. It might be a little extreme, but I honestly think they promote degeneracy. They promote these false expectations for these for these girls. Maybe these other girls watch this stuff and they're like, "Why do I look like that? Why don't I get this viewership? Why am I not getting this attention?" And all it does is spread degeneracy. Those hot tub streamers, there's nothing good about them, honestly, in my opinion.
Well, do you want to know why Twitch still has them on?
Yeah, well, they make Twitch a shitload of money. That's the truth.
Exactly.
They make
That's-
Twitch a shitload of money.
That's the only reason why they can't boot them off. Same thing with OnlyFans. OnlyFans isn't supposed to be an 18 plus platform, but they basically have to be because that's their audience.
Yeah, that's 99%.
That's how they make their money.
That's 99% of OnlyFans, man. OnlyFans, if you guys don't know this, OnlyFans was supposed to be built like it was supposed to be something where creators can connect with people that donate to their OnlyFans or sign up for the OnlyFans. So, for example, it was like behind the scenes type stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes type stuff like that. Instead, couple people over COVID, they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna take a picture of my body and post it on there," and that's what happens. It spreads degeneracy. It spreads this terrible notion. These kids are seeing this stuff, and this is honestly stuff that I don't. This is why I'm starting to get really mad at streaming on Twitch, because if they're not going to do something about it, just the children aspect of it, then you got a major problem.
Well, I mean, this is what I think when it comes to kids and all this stuff. As soon as you give a kid access to the internet, they're exposed to everything. There's
Yeah.
no stopping it, no matter how many limitations you
Yeah.
put in. So any parent who wants to restrict their kids from seeing that kind of stuff, don't give your kid a phone.
Or
Don't give 'em a
parental.
computer.
No. There's ways around that now, though. Parental controls.
There is.
Use
There
them.
is, but most people don't know how to use them. So
And that's
either-
the tough thing. But dude, my parents, my dad, I got lucky that I had a tech savvy family, right?
that's where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad was a computer science and engineering major. He knew his way around a computer. He's the one that introduced me into the world of computers and technology and things like that. But if he wanted to see my search history, damn well, he'll ask me to see my search history. I'll show it to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just how it was back in the day. You didn't clear your search history. You don't do that shit. Okay? You go, he shows you, he checks your search history, looks through it. That's what a parent does. If you're a parent, monitor what your kid's doing online. Okay? Because I'm not worried about, what your kid's doing. I'm worried about what somebody might do to your kid. I'm worried about, no, there's no moderation. If you don't care what your kid's doing on their iPad because you shoved an iPad in their face when they're 3 years old, okay? And now they're fucking 13 and they don't know how to live without the thing. Like, that's your fault. That's your fault as a parent. As a parent, you got to be there. You have to be there guiding your kid. And if your kid's looking at this stuff and you don't want them looking at it, you fucked up parenting. I'm sorry, but if you didn't teach them that, certain things are bad, certain things are not meant to be seen, watched, them at their age, that was your fault as a parent. That's not the technology's fault.
Yeah, it's bad judgment. But at the same time, I think a lot of people don't think about it they're like, oh, I use this, it's fine, whatever. But they also
Yeah.
don't know how crafty kids are. Like they know how to get their way around
Oh
things, even
yeah.
if they've never seen it before. They'll figure it out.
Especially if they're that iPad baby.
Hundred
If you
percent.
gave your kid that iPad when he was 3 years old, right, 2 3 years old, just to shut him up, keep him distracted, man, they're gonna learn how to use that thing better than you. Now, is that something good within
Yep.
itself? Yes, but it is. Does it also lead to worse things? It can. It can go either
Hundred
way.
percent.
It's a two right. We're not going to be biased about it. It's a two-sided road. Okay, there's bad things that can happen. There's good things that can come out of it. But either way, there's still those things. You got to be monitoring those things. You bring up a great point though, because now that we're on this topic, it's making me think of something. TikTok. I have a really, really big problem with TikTok. The reason why I have a big problem with TikTok, for a second, let's put away like the Chinese spying and like all that stuff, the spyware and all that. But let's look at like the content that's on here, right? There was a point on TikTok before their algorithm got really good, like scary good. Like they know exactly what I like to eat tea. Um, I mean, there was girls dancing these provocative dances. These are 18 plus women that I'm talking about. Um, and they were dancing these provocative dances, things like that, which is fine, whatever. They're of age, they can do whatever they want. They're adults. My problem is the younger generations that are seeing it and replicating that behavior, because for no reason should there be a 10-year-old dancing what a 20-year-old's dancing. Let's just, unless, obviously you know what I mean by that, right? I'm not saying that a 10-year-old
Yeah.
can't dance the same exact dance as a 20-year-old. I'm saying I don't want to see a 10-year-old shaking the 10-year-old's ass. You know, let's be honest here, because that's
Yeah,
disgusting.
you don't want them. You
And
don't
they
want them
learn
dancing
that
like
because they
strippers.
saw it and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to be part of that too. I want to be doing these things." But and then again, it goes right back to the parenting. Nobody's controlling it. Nobody's moderating this stuff. It's a really really big problem.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents, like you were saying, the iPad baby, um, or I mean, even like parents that buy their kids like Xboxes and stuff. A lot of times, it's just to keep the kid occupied, so
Exactly.
they can work or they can do whatever. It's almost like getting their kid a babysitter.
Exactly.
It's the same sort of thing, and that's where with China, right? They're coming in, they're making this thing perfect to controlling the kids and getting the
Exactly.
kids, hooked on this thing and getting them to do what they need them to do, right?
There's going to be a
Preparing them.
there's going
So,
to be a point, and this is going off exactly what you were saying. There's going to be a point where TikTok is raising your children and you are not. And
it
I
already
feel like
is.
it's already happening. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
already happening. TikTok is raising your kids. You are no longer raising your own children. If your kid is on TikTok 24/7, like every waking moment of the day, TikTok is raising your kid.
And it's not just TikTok. It's any form of social media. It's games. I mean, it's really anything on the phone, anything like that.
All that stuff.
Um,
All that. If
and
your
I don't
friend,
think
go for
I
it.
don't think it's bad. Like I don't think that kind of stuff is bad. I mean, I'm a gamer. I love
Yeah.
Instagram. I go on Instagram all the time. And I use all this kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's good if you don't know what's on there and what to look out for. If you don't know how to differentiate what's good from bad,
Yeah.
what you should be spending your time on. Um, if you're a young impressionable kid, I mean, like for example, TikTok trends, stuff like that, like that's affecting kids because kids are stupid.
Yeah, no, and I 100% agree. And my dad told me one thing. My dad told me one big thing. He taught me a lesson that's going to stay with me the rest of my life, and it was everything in moderation. Now
Yeah.
he used that when we would like go out drinking, me and him, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But he means it for everything. Everything in moderation. That includes your time on TikTok. That includes your time on video games. That includes everything. Everything in moderation. Because if you get stuck doing one thing and you only do that one thing and you do it 24/7, that's unhealthy. It's an unhealthy
Yeah.
thing. It's a habit, you know. Um, but honestly, everything in moderation. And honestly, some of these parents that are starting to put these parental time limits on their children's TikTok, on their iPad, stuff like that, those are great parents. They're doing a great job. Telling kids that they can't be on the iPad past 9 or 8 o'clock before bedtime, that's a great thing too. Have some family time. Kids these days need that stuff because, as Dana was saying, they made this algorithm so good. These apps have everything these kids love, and now these creators that they're watching are raising these kids, as I mentioned before. It's no
They have
longer
full teams dedicated to designing this algorithm.
that this
I
is
mean,
what
and
they do.
nowadays they have AI that can do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, this is so the
AI
world we
learning.
live in today. We were in the information era. I think that's over now. I think the information era is done. Okay, we already hit the advancements and stuff like that. We've been living in this information era. Honestly, now I think we can call this the algorithm or the curated era because everything in our lives is curated. It's going to be scripted. It's going to be everything. I mean, just think about it. Kids nowadays, they're afraid to talk to each other. They're afraid to talk to each other. There are some kids that, and I'm not talking about people with social anxiety. That's a really big, that's something separate. But there's a problem where people are more comfortable, online talking to a stranger. Like, and there's many apps that promote this stuff. Omegle, the big one. Did you ever use Omegle when you were younger?
No, I
Okay.
know what it is. I
Yeah.
never used it.
Yeah, so like Omegle, Omi TV, all those like talk to strangers, why are kids on that? You know what I mean? Why are kids on that?
I don't think they're supposed to be on it.
Exactly,
I don't think it's.
exactly.
I think it's against TOS.
I think it is too. That's the problem that we're running into now. These kids have the internet. They're accessing these things that are supposed to be 18 plus, and then something happens. Something bad happens. It's in the news for a week, and then it's swept under the rug. And this leads to a completely trivial thing that's going through the government right now. A lot of you might have heard it as the TikTok ban. Okay, the TikTok ban. What is the TikTok ban? Well, it's not just a TikTok ban. That's just a fancy name to get it through with a bipartisan vote. The TikTok ban is actually the Restriction Act, okay, or the Restrictive Act, or whatever they decided to call it. I don't know. But it's not banning TikTok. What it does is it gives the government the ability to turn off your data, refuse you from using a VPN, and a bunch of other things. You can be stalked by the government online. They could take your data, and you'll have no idea. Now, this is not only a major infringement of my freedom, but I also believe that it is taking away my unalienable rights. Do you know what the unalienable rights are?
Yeah,
the,
I mean,
you have the right
to life, liberty, and the
pursuit of happiness, baby.
Yeah.
But no, like this, I think this is trivial, and I think that there needs to be more people talking out about it because, I don't care what anybody says, guys. Big government never worked, okay? And now that they're just in your life, they know everything about you. It's game over, guys. Nothing's hidden. You have no secrets. It's all out there. The government knows about it. And sure, they could use the excuse, oh, it's going to stop crime. Totally. But we know that it's there for surveillance. They want to look at you. They want to see you. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know every aspect of your life. And they already do to an extent. But now they're going to know it entirely with this new act because your entire life is on TikTok. If they get that data from TikTok, you're done.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff, like the VPNs and all that kind of stuff, it's there to help protect you from the government. I mean, there's got to be protections. There's got to be like a buffer zone between the citizens and the government. I mean, that's kind of why the Second Amendment exists.
Yep.
And plenty of others. Um, there's got to be some sort of restriction to where your rights cannot be infringed upon by the government. And this act throws out a lot of that. I mean, under the guise of something good. A lot of this crap comes in under something that sounds great, or it comes in under something that's supposed to be, the moral, like, right thing to do, right? And then they sneak something else in that sounds great, and then it screws everyone.
And
So
that's literally what it
always
is.
be skeptical. Yeah.
Literally
So I mean,
exactly what it is.
I am like I would say I'm in favor of banning TikTok only if TikTok doesn't get rid of the Chinese like spying and stealing data aspect of it. Other than that, I don't care that TikTok exists. It's fine. Um, However, I think the U.S. also needs to, start, voting on laws and stuff. Congress needs to start working on, um, kind of getting up to speed with a lot of the new technology and a lot of the new stuff that fills our world today. They're very behind. What was that section 230, right? Which just gives the I think it was section 230, which is
I think I
it
could check.
basically gives the social media companies kind of the right to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yes, allows for web operators large and small to moderate user speech and content as they see fit.
yeah,
Now,
and
I see this as a I see that. I mean, I mean, we're opening up a can of worms here, which is great.
yeah,
Which is exactly what I wanted.
hmm
But I mean, guys, this goes so against your freedoms, man. I mean, a lot of these people don't understand this, bro. And then this goes back to even the cancel culture thing. If you don't like what somebody's saying, stop listening to the person. Stop watching their stuff. It's that simple.
get off the internet.
Instead,
Don't go outside.
instead you have all these, all these people, and they're like, "No, I don't like it. We need to get rid of him. Bad. Fuck you." And like, no, dude. Like, you're sitting here, you're talking about how you hate all these. Oh, I hate fascists. I hate all these fascists. They're saying this. Let's cancel them. Well, who's more fascist? The person saying something that you don't agree with, or the person that's trying to silence the other person? Because I'm pretty sure, in a dictatorship, if somebody says something bad about the dictator, that person's dying, right? That person's no longer going to be able to talk anymore. So what are these people doing with cancel culture? I don't want this person to talk anymore. You're just as bad as the people that you say that you do not like. You're just as bad. It's hypocrisy, and honestly, I'm tired of it. I made a promise. Dana knows this. I keep it 100%, 100% of the time. Okay? Does it get me into some trouble sometimes? Sure. But at the same time, I know I'm being true to myself, the people that I'm talking to, the people that are listening to me. I know that I'm being true. Okay? If you're going to say that you hate these things, but yet you want an aspect that comes from these groups, that comes from dictators and fascist governments, then stop promoting cancel culture. Because that is the number one. As soon as you control the speech that comes out of somebody's mouth, you yourself are that dictator. You yourself are that fascist. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was gonna say regarding the fact that all the social media can control your speech, it's kind of a weird area where it's like, oh yeah, these are private corporations, they should be able to do what they want, and I kind of agree with that. Like they should be able to do what they want, but there's no alternative. Like there's no public alternative to that, and at this point right now, it's either the government needs to create their own social media platform or they need to regulate the already existing ones, so they can go down either path. Either one's fine. I think ultimately if you want to get the most freedom of speech, you're going to have to go down regulating um the social media
I
platforms.
see. That's. I think that's where we differ. I don't. I see. I don't think I agree with that.
What
If
do you agree with?
I want
Or what?
true freedom of speech. I
Mhm.
want true freedom of speech.
I do too, but how are you going to do that?
You have true freedom of speech.
I'm talking with a social media platform. How are you going to do that?
Now you do need some sort of content moderation, always, to
So
avoid
then
illegal,
you can't have true freedom of speech.
to avoid illegal things. Freedom of speech. So the amendments do not protect under illegal activities. For example,
Okay,
if
but
I'm
what's
talking, if
illegal?
I'm planning an attack on something, that's illegal, right? Like that's
Yeah,
a call to
what's
action. That doesn't fall under First Amendment. That doesn't fall under freedom of speech.
but that's all because that's been voted on in courts and stuff, right?
That's the
That's
original
also
that's the original interpretation. Now, freedom of speech also implies to that we could talk shit about the government all we want and nothing's going to happen to us. Um,
uh-huh.
but at the same time, it's like I'm not. If I want to say, like, for example, say you post something on Twitter and I want to comment on it saying this is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard, you should probably rethink your entire life. There's something stupid like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I wanted to comment that, let me comment that. I don't want Instagram telling me, "Oh, are you sure you want to post that?" Yes, I'm fucking sure. I press send on the thing. I'm sure. I'm 100% positive that I want to send it. Like, that's what I mean. I don't want, like, and obviously, when I say true freedom of speech, I want it to be obviously legal, right? That's as I stated before. And
Yeah.
but I don't want these social media platforms being able to decide. Like, I honestly think Section 230 is probably one of the worst pieces of legislation ever passed on the planet.
So
Because
you think that the corporations need to be regulated, the social media platforms need to be
I think the
regulated?
platforms themselves need to be regulated. I don't think
Okay.
the users of the platforms need to be as heavily regulated.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I was saying there needs to be either
Oh, you're saying the platform themselves, not the user.
right. There either
Oh,
needs to be a
excuse me.
public option,
Yeah.
like a public option created by the government for people to use, like a public social media platform, or there needs to be there needs to be regulation to allow or to open um basically these chat rooms to whoever is allowed to speak.
Yeah. No, that I agree. I'm sorry, I misinterpreted. I thought you meant that
Yeah,
there needed to be
and there
more
just needs to
regulation
be
on the
more
user
like
side.
no. There just needs to be more I guess guidelines and policies regarding that on the books, or at least it needs to be rethought because
Mhm.
at the moment I don't think the laws that are currently there even recognize this stuff for what it is. They don't think of it in modern terms.
Yeah, yeah. This is a really big deal. I mean, yeah. I mean, this whole thing. I mean, we're in the point of our lifetimes now where people our age we've saw the start of these things, and now we're starting to see what's happening. You know what I mean? We're in a very, very interesting generation. This includes millennials. This includes our parents, but especially us because we grew up, in this new boom of social media. In this, and it affects a lot of things. These high school kids, these middle school kids, they're seeing these things online. They're seeing, and it's dictating their entire lives. Like, what are we? Are we Gen X? What are
I have no idea. I think we're Gen Z,
we? Gen Z?
technically.
So I don't consider myself a Gen Z because the Gen Z
I
that
think
I
we're
see
the
now,
gap year. I think there's gap years between the different
between
generations. I
generations.
think we are the gap year because the most sane people I know on both sides, higher and lower, are in that gap year.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
people my age are probably the most sane when it comes to like just being like aware of what's going on
yeah.
compared to the millennials and the Gen Z below us.
I agree with you, and I feel like the Gen Z are those like guys that wear the shorts like that look like speedos and have the curly hair. They all have the perm or whatever. They all have a perm. I don't know why the perm's back in style. Like, stupidest thing on the planet. But it's all these TikTok guys, bro. They're sitting on TikTok and they're like, "Yeah, dude, I'm in my $4 million mansion that I was able to afford with my TikTok money. What up, dog? What's up, dude? How you doing? Like, fuck you." You're like, what? Like
Yeah.
that's Gen Z, bro. Fuck those kids. Like they're all gonna fail. They're all gonna be washed up druggies that we see on 27th. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on.
Well, that's already happening. I've seen plenty of kids that are like younger than me that have already gone down the wrong path.
Exactly.
They've been spoiled brats their whole life, and they turn out to be just these like sad, like depressed drug
And
addicts
that's what
trying to
happens.
recover.
That's literally what
It's
happens. These
sad.
guys, they hop on the TikTok, they do one dance. Oh, dude, I got 100K views. Ooh, I'm famous, bro. I'm better than you. You know, I realized something while speaking with you about all this. China has their social credit system, right?
Hmm.
We do too. I don't give a shit what anybody says. We do too. Because
No way. Yeah.
if you don't recall, followers used to be everything. I remember a point in my life where you weren't cool if you didn't have X amount of followers, Or it would be, dude, I got 500 followers. You only got 300. What the like? What up? I remember that point in my life. Okay, and that's when I was in middle school. Now I wonder how it's evolving. I wonder how middle schoolers say it now. Is it the same way? Like, do you see these kids that are coming out of these schools, bro? I mean, they're so stupid. They're so stupid.
Yeah, I've seen many of them. I never had the issue where I didn't have people talking to me because of follower count, but I mean, I don't know what it's like now. I bet it could 100% go down that path. I mean, I've seen kids talk about that. I mean, I think there was a kid on Dr. Phil that was like that,
Yeah.
talking about his mom.
Yeah, my mom
Um,
has less followers than me, so I don't love her anymore. What?
yeah,
What?
that's crazy.
Like, that's your
And
fucking, that's your mother, bro. That is the mother, that is the person who put you on this earth. You wouldn't have those followers without your mother.
yeah, but the kid doesn't know anything else. That's his entire life.
That's what I'm saying.
And
And these kids are coming out now. Like my little nephews, right? That
yeah,
that live here. It's like they're great. They're being raised correctly. Their parents aren't idiots. And I think the problem is it's like these like it's kind of fucked up to say, but I mean like these idiots, man, are raising kids. Oh,
yeah, the millennials
you
are
can
raising
do
kids.
whatever you want, sweetheart. You can do whatever you want. Oh yeah, participation trophies up the ass. Oh yeah, no, dude. I'm gonna teach my kids a very, very simple lesson. You could do whatever you put your mind to, but it's gonna be hard as fuck. I'm not making a promise that, oh, sweetheart, you want to make $1 million? You want to be an astronaut? Okay, you're gonna be an astronaut. No, you want to be an astronaut? Go to fucking school, become an engineer, be kick-ass, be the top of your class, then go work at NASA. Period. And is it gonna be easy?
Yeah.
No. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things so easily. I'm gonna sugarcoat some things, obviously. It's just I'm not gonna tell my kids with this, teach them this false impression that whatever they do, they're gonna do it with ease. No. If you raise your kids that way, stop right away. Those are the same exact kids that are dropping out of college because they're overstressed. They're the same kids that have no moral compass, have no idea what they want to do with their lives because you told them everything's easy, so they don't have any goals to strive for. If you're already perfect, you have nothing to improve.
Well, they've never gained anything like by themselves. Everything that they've got
They've been given.
was given to them.
Exactly.
They never had to work for it, and hard work builds good people. It builds your character, it builds your soul, I think.
Yeah.
And um you know that's that's a big thing that's missing in this next generation. I mean, I would even say myself, like, I mean, I don't think I went through a ton of struggle to get to where I am. I definitely went through some. I mean, I had good parents and everything. I just, but compared to like previous generations and other people and definitely other countries and stuff, who are less fortunate, they went through a much harder process of growing up, and they're they're probably more headstrong than I
Yeah.
would be, you know. So I have to try and learn it. I have to try and learn it these days, but I think you'd probably say the same thing.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. There's always. I'm off the impression that there's always room for improvement. You'll never be perfect. because
100%.
If you're perfect, you know everything. You know everything.
Well, you flatlined.
Exactly.
Like, what's the point of living anymore?
And
Like,
that's the issue that I have with a lot of these kids I mean you talk to on a daily basis, right? Dana
Yeah.
and I are in college. For those of you who don't know this, okay, we interact with a lot of different people on a daily basis, and we are in the field of IT. So, and both him and I are both major. We're trying to get our degree, our undergrad in IT with an emphasis in cybersecurity, and then I'm following up, and he's still deciding if he's getting his master's in IT. But for me, a lot of people are like, "Why are you getting your master's, bro? Just get a cert, bro. Just go get your Sec Plus, bro. Go get your CompTIA, whatever, 241." You know what I mean? Like, cool, dude. Awesome. You want to set up a ceiling for yourself? That's how you do it. Don't go to college. Go get a cert. Go make your $30,000 a year job. And then if you want to complain though, because those same exact people are going to be the same ones complaining. Oh, dude, I can't afford anything. What the hell? That's your fault. You gave yourself a ceiling. You didn't leave room for improvement. and you got screwed. And that's your fault. That's your choice. Like for me, I want to get my master's. I want to put myself above everybody else in these interviews. And Dana, I'm sure you want to do the same exact thing. See, if he's getting his IT degree, maybe he wants to get a cert. That's okay. He's still getting his degree. Like, there's people that I'm hearing that are like, yeah, dude, I'm just going to drop out and get certs. Cool, bro. You guaranteed yourself that you're an expert. Not even an expert. You guaranteed that you could take a test about this one thing. You're really good at taking this test, but that doesn't guarantee anything. And honestly,
Where's the experience?
Exactly. There's no hands-on experience. You took a boot camp that all you did was listening to some random dude talk to you for 5 hours, and now you know how to repeat that information. What does that information entail? Why do these things happen? Like, I drill kids that get these certs every time I talk to them, and then they're just like, and I'm like, what is an interviewer gonna do to you? What is an interviewer? When it matters, when these questions are being asked to you, what's going to happen? You're not going to get the job, and you're going to get mad, and you're going to wish you went back and you redid what you did. But it's too late. You already took the time. I always say I live by the philosophy, you get back what you put in, right? So if I'm giving 100% effort, I'm going to get a good reward. If I'm giving 50% effort, I'm not going to get as good as a reward. It's as simple as that. And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the whole cert degree thing?
I think it comes down to I think it's more about your experience level and who you know. Um, I think certs are fine. I think getting a degree is good, especially in our field and some others. There's that barrier to entry with a degree, so that's almost like a base level bare minimum, unless you have good connections. Um, from there, I think the certs are just an added bonus if you have them, if you want to put the time in. I personally think that you're more you'd be better off getting a job somewhere and learning stuff and putting that on your resume rather than a cert or
Well, that's why these
building
big
something.
companies, these non-entry level jobs, that's why they want that 5+ years business experience, in-field experience. They want to know
Yeah,
you know
but
what you're doing.
Also put your like projects you're working on resume.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if
that's a
you're
huge
coding
one.
something, like finished projects, like things that you're doing. What are you doing to, um, better yourself? That is what they want. What can you
Exactly.
bring to their team? You know, having a cert saying that you took a test, that may be fine to add on to all the other stuff you're doing, but by itself, it's kind of useless.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
think
that's what I'd say
cert.
about that.
I totally agree with your statement there. I think certs are a great filling, but it's not the entire donut. You get what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like I look at it like a jelly donut. The donut itself is going to be your degree, and you could fill that with certs or a master's or both. And that's great. That's great that you do that. That's great that you made that decision. But you can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? You can't have a jelly donut if you don't have the jelly. You can't have the jelly donut if you don't have the donut. You need it can't just be one or the other. It needs to be both, a mix of both, or a different way. Because if you're just getting these certs, you don't have in-field experience. So you're automatically congrats, because now you don't have one of the requirements to get hired for this job. Right. And then you have a piece of paper that says you know something, but nobody wants to hire you for it now because you don't have anything else to give. Like if you get your Sec Plus, dude, great, good job. Like, and there's a lot of people that I know that gets their certs, but they're also getting their degrees. You know, if you get your Security
Yeah, they're
Plus,
working both
congrats.
at the same time.
Exactly. You know your security. You know this stuff. Awesome. Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Like if somebody tells me, "Oh, you know networking," build me a network. I'll take out Cisco Packet Tracer and build a network right in front of them. I'll do all the stuff in CLI. I'll do all that stuff. Because I have that proof. I have the assignments that I did in the past. Dana does the same. We have these things that we did hands-on that we could use as a resource, that we could use to prove that we know what we're talking about. Not just these certifications that are a piece of paper that get emailed to you that you could print out and put in a nice little frame. No. Because that piece of paper in a year's time is useless, and you have to go take that test again. It's just the truth of it. Because how many of these kids, Dana, do you think now that we see posting on LinkedIn and saying that certs are so good, oh my God, are actually going to renew those certs? How many? What percentage do you think?
10%.
Yeah, I was gonna say less than half. I was gonna say less than half, at least.
I think it's probably
Way
more than
less.
10%.
Way less. Yeah, way less. I could agree with that. I could see 10. I'll even say 20% just to be generous.
Well, who has time once you move on with your life to redo certs?
My point exactly. My point. Who's renewing these certs, bro? Your piece of paper that you just bragged and told me you're gonna make 100K plus. You're gonna make six figures with that one piece of paper. You can't even get hired to a job with it alone, and you're gonna have to retake the test. It's useless to you. We live in the IT field, guys, and this is specifically. I'm talking specifically for the IT field because I know the IT field. You know what I mean? Because we're in it. This is what Dana and I do on a daily basis. We research this stuff. We read about this stuff. We do all this stuff all the time. We're living in it. We have friends doing this stuff. Like, the tech field is always changing. Your cert is probably going to be, no, honestly, 3 months after because something new will come out. It's just how it is.
The stuff you learn in class has like there's been an update that basically makes the program you're working with completely different.
Exactly.
Like it on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
the stuff changes.
Yeah. And
So-
the cool thing that GCU, that our college does very, very, very well, in my opinion, is they teach you the fundamentals, because once you know those, you know the entire thing. Okay?
Well, you know how to adapt to
Yeah.
all the new changes that come in.
like Dana and I learned, we went through networking courses. They didn't just teach us networking now. They took us from step 1 to where we're at. They took us from what is layer 1? What is that? Right? It's the physical stuff. Then you get the layer 2, then you get layer 3, then you get layer 4. They taught us the steps, and now everything goes off those steps. Even if they've changed that standard, we still understand the new standard because we knew the original. And we just look at it and we're like, oh yeah, this is just this. They just combined these two layers. That's how it is, guys. I mean, if you want to go do something, if you guys want to honestly excel in something, learn every little aspect of that thing. I chose tech because I've been in tech since I was like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Dad taught me everything. He didn't teach me everything. You know, he took a great approach for it. Like I said, my dad's a huge tech nut. He wrote the college. He while he was in college, he wrote the IT program or the computer science program at another college. You know what I mean? So my dad is way super qualified. He could have taught me everything. He could have made me a monster if he wanted to, but he didn't. He wanted me to learn by myself because nobody helped him get to the point where he was. So why should anybody help me? Right? It did the same exact thing. I used to show my dad these old programming projects and stuff like that, and he would be like, cool, go finish it. Go make it better. Make it do this. He would give me the tasks. He wouldn't tell me how to do it. He wouldn't help me. You know what I mean? Nobody helped him. He got to where he was. Nobody, you know, in that aspect, nobody helped me, and I got to where I am. I have the knowledge that I have. Nobody can give you knowledge. You need to receive knowledge by yourself. So, like, and what I mean by that is, like, Dana might tell me something, but in order for me to keep that knowledge, I need to ponder on it. I need to think about it. I need to ask questions about it. I need to research it. Because that's just how it is. That's just how the world works. It's how your brain works. It's how everything works. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with anything?
100%.
There we go, 100%. Yeah. See, this is why Dana and I are friends, right? Like, little do you guys know, before we started this episode, we were 100% bitching each other out. Like, 1,000%. Like, you should have heard the things we were saying. Dude, what the heck? You didn't hear me? I was talking to you. Nah, dude. I didn't hear you, dude. I actually didn't hear him, mind you. I thought it was very weird. But no, yeah. I can't wait to have kids because I feel like our generation having kids, like I'm saying, like us, like that gap year that you were mentioning, I think that we're gonna do a great job bringing back old values, because honestly, nobody has values anymore, like actual values. Like the values that people are worried about today are like, oh, is my clothes look good enough?
Where did those values start? Like what are the values based on? Where do they come from?
Heritage, culture, period. You know, that type of stuff.
And religion. Those
And
three
religion,
things.
yeah. I think that's very important. You know, you bring up religion, which is great, because
Well, I mean,
that's a great it's a great thing. I mean, a lot of a lot of people, have you noticed? You know, not nobody's really religious anymore. It's like now that's become like a niche thing. It didn't used to be. Now it's a niche thing. Oh, I'm not religious. I'm not religious. No, I don't like religion. But at the same time, those are the people that are like, yeah, dude, I think it's okay. Let's pump our kids full of chemicals. Yeah. No.
well, I think we're the most secular we've ever been. Um, do I think everyone needs to be religious? No.
No,
I don't think you have to be.
I don't agree. I
Um,
don't think you do either.
but I think you can't get rid of religion from society, or otherwise it breaks down. Like for example, the U.S. The U.S. has gotten progressively worse and worse the farther away it's gotten away from its heritage, which is the foundation on Christianity, or you know, I yeah, I mean that's basically what it's based on. Other countries, based on Islam, you know,
I mean, it's
the farther
written
they get away from that, like the core context, the worse they get.
exactly,
Um,
and a lot of people forget we're one nation under God, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, a lot of these people, that's great. You have your freedom of religion. You don't need to be religious. It's just you need to have value, right? You need to have
and where do those
moral.
values come from? It
A
all goes
lot
back to the same thing.
a lot of it comes from religion. A lot of it does. But I'm saying
Yep.
for people that aren't religious, it's not like we're saying, "Oh, go get baptized in something." I'm not forcing somebody to change their way of life. If they feel a call and they would like to get baptized, you know, go for it. But if you don't, you need to have some type of value. You need to have some type of or values, not value like monetary value. You need to have values. You need to have some type of thing that's guiding you in a good direction. What's telling you not to go rob this store? What's telling you not to go do something bad to this person? Like, for me, the biggest thing is respect. I tell Dana this all the time. Respect is my number one. My number one. You know, if you respect me, I will respect you. I will respect you back. If you don't respect me, you don't deserve my respect back. Honestly, that's just how I see it. You don't deserve my respect back. You know, and it goes as simple as to saying hello. Honestly, if you see somebody you know and they're walking by, you just, you know, wave. You don't need to make a big scene. You don't need to stop them. Just, hey, how you doing? Dana, how are you? Dana, you know, wave. Just you know, that's simple. It's simple respect. It's simple. And I think that's one thing that people forgot. And I think that's why we're straying so far away from like these norms and things like that. Nobody has respect anymore for anything. For anything. I mean, you see these people going into these art museums and they're gluing themselves and destroying these paintings. Like somebody
Well,
took their lives. That's their life's work and you're destroying it.
it all goes back to like how modern society has become so self-centered,
Yeah.
rather than being selfless and you know relying on God, or just being a good human and being good to the people around them. um s- People are like more caring towards other people, they act like it, but really it all comes back to themselves. That's where it comes from. It's like, who's the more virtuous person? It's like a virtue contest, and it's self-centered. Like the whole thing goes back to themselves. So um I think that's what's causing a lot of the societal rot that we see today. It's all focused
That's what
on
it is. That's what it is.
the self.
Society itself is crumbling. People around us are struggling, and it could be solved very easily. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's the government's job." No, society's not the government's job. Your neighbor is your neighbor. You know, you're that first point of contact. Okay, You should like. There used to be a point in time where if somebody new moved into the neighborhood, they knock on the doors. Hey, how you doing? I'm so and so. Nice to meet you. I'm having a barbecue to introduce ourselves to the neighbor. You know, stuff like that. There was a sense of community, and there still is in certain places. I'm not saying it's completely gone. I'm just saying it's non-existent now. It's almost non-existent now. Like my buddy Jake, he lives in my neighborhood. We hang out all the time with him back home, and his parents are friends with everybody in the cul-de-sac and on their street. And they always do stuff together. They're fun with each other. You know, they're having their kids hang out with each other. They're building a sense of community that we're just not seeing anymore, and that's a really shitty thing because a lot of these kids now, they're growing up, they don't have anywhere to go, they don't have a community, and then back to what we were saying, they meet somebody online, they start filling their head with bullshit, and then that person is lost. You've lost that person, and that's what we're seeing a lot of today. That's why we said before, you know, parents, make sure your kids are talking to good people. Make sure they're having positive, you know, positive friendships. I'm not saying online friendships are bad, right? We're not saying that at all. Dana and I both play games religiously. We have plenty of online friends. We have plenty of friends that we play games with on a daily basis. You know, there isn't a problem with that, but there's a problem when it becomes excessive. That goes back to what I was saying.
And that's all you do.
And that's
If you only have online friends,
Yeah.
that is a problem.
That is a
you
problem.
should have friends in person as well.
Exactly. It goes back to what I was saying before. Everything in excess, right? Everything. Just limit everything you do. It's very, very simple to do that. I mean, I'm seriously worried. I'm seriously worried about these future generations past us. And I'm talking about the ones that are already living, not like our kids, because I think I think the kids that we are going to have are going to be like a renaissance. You know what renaissance mean? It means like a rebirth. I think it's going to be like the renaissance that we need. I think it's going to be like a shitty 20 plus years. But I think that our kids, they're going to grow up and I think it's going to be a renaissance. I think they're going to fix a lot of things. I don't think they're going to fix everything. But there's going to be a major reset that's coming, guys. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think there's a major reset coming. Something big is coming. Because a lot of big things are happening, but I don't think a lot of people are mentioning these things. I mean, we had a bank fail, guys. I don't think you understand how like big that is. A bank
it was multiple,
fail.
Actually,
a bank fail.
It wasn't just that one. I think there was a couple other ones.
But still, even if it was only one bank, or two, or multiple, even if it was only one, like I thought the banks were too big to fail. So what does this mean? What is happening? You know, something huge is on the horizon, and I think that point where it started was the Evergrande crash in China. That one house, or Evergrande, or whatever they're called. I think it was Evergrande. It was like the biggest housing thing. Here, let me pull it up really quick. So, yes, the China's Evergrande Group, the world's most indebted property developer. They were in major debt. They failed. They crashed. They're done. And I think it started there. You know, it started there. Now we're seeing this ripple effect that's just happening. I mean, everything's in shit now. You know, and I don't think it's just a local political level anymore. It's not just a local to our government. I think these politicians that want to globalize everything has a hand in it because that screws everything. You know, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things, and obviously Dana and I are going to explore them on the podcast. We would like to have guests. Sometimes we don't want to have guests. Sometimes it's just Dana and I shooting the shit, which is what we do anyways. But there's a lot of interesting things that are happening, and Dana, do you think that? Where do you think the downfall was? What do you think that pivotal moment was that we started on this track?
To failure?
Yeah.
Ooh.
The path that we are on now, because it's not a good one. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. I think it's earlier than you think. I think it was probably around towards the end of World War II. I think. I think the problem is partially the fact that we think we're too big to fail, like the U.S. I think,
Mhm.
or just Western society actually in general. Um, I think we think, oh yeah, we've got God on our side, we've got all the money, we can kind of do whatever we want. We're all in all these other random countries across the world, and we're the police, like we're the higher ups. What we forgot to realize is that that can change pretty quickly.
And we're seeing it.
Um,
We're seeing it.
yeah,
China's coming up for economic dominance.
well, a big part of that was allowing China to trade with the rest of the world, giving them the ability to trade with everybody, allowed them to build their economy to a massive state to where it rivals ours, which is devastating to us. And you know,
Well,
it's
it's not just China in that situation. It's not just China.
it's not just
It's
China.
BRICS. It's BRICS.
Yeah, but that has to do with China. I mean, China's the big player, right? They're
Yeah.
the biggest player.
China is the biggest player. Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
if we look at
I'm
it, though,
generalizing.
yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. What were you saying?
So, I think that was a problem. I think it's idealistic to be like, oh yeah, we'll let everyone have a fair trade, and everyone will be on the same page, and that's kind of like the idealism of globalism, thinking that everyone's gonna live in this utopia. Um, it's just wishful thinking. It's never gonna be like that because humans are humans,
Yeah.
and to sustain what we've got, this awesome society we live in, um, this better standard of living from the vast majority of the rest of the world. The only reason why that exists is because um, America exists. Like, and we have things in place that allow it to exist. But if we let everyone else in on that, it's gonna, it's just gonna kill us
You know,
because there's so many other people that think differently than the U.S.
exactly.
For example, China.
Exactly.
So, and I respect their wishes. They can do what they want, and their country. They also have their ideas. I think the U.S. is also wrong for trying to, manage everything across the world. But I think we also need to be superior in a sense. Not that we need to be superior physically, over these other countries, be like the big hands on everybody. But I do think that we should definitely be stronger, a lot stronger,
Mhm.
but be moral about it. Don't attack everybody because they're better just because you can, which is what we've been doing. And a lot of these wars that we've been having, we're just attacking people for being different. So, but I think that's inevitable. That's just something that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
it's a very very interesting path. I mean, let me ask you. Let me ask you this. So,
yeah.
do you think that there's a problem with relationships now?
What kind of relationships?
So, like with a significant other, like a boyfriend girlfriend, like a relationship. Like, I feel I have this notion that it's becoming worse because nobody has morals. Like, this goes back to everything that we're saying. Everything we're saying, it has a root. It's like, how am I? Because like Dana and I, we're talking about like how we want to raise our kids, what you should teach your kids, things like that. But a lot of people are just not having kids. A lot of people are refusing to get married. Like, why was it so great when the nuclear family was around? It's almost like, it works, right? It's almost
Well,
like these
again,
things that these people want to get rid of, these constructs that people want to get rid of, work. Maybe they're good.
it's being self-centered again. I mean,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
the exact
I
same
mean,
thing.
I mean, anybody can walk up to you and tell you that heroin is going to save your life. Okay, that doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
Right? It
Well,
doesn't mean it's
it's
true.
also
It doesn't mean
so
it's true.
it's not being able to handle responsibility because having a and living on your own and having a job and having all these things, those are big responsibilities. I think that's why we have, these kids that are failure to launch. I mean, they're 30-year-old, people living in their parents' house still, and they can't get out because they can't handle. Um, and I think that's something that's taught. So again, that goes back to the parents. Maybe even the school system has something to do with it, but definitely the parents. Um, and then society as a whole is also encouraged in some form. So, um, yeah, I mean that's a problem. Lack of responsibility, self-centeredness, all of that adds up to what we see today.
I think you raise some great points there. I think, this is something we can definitely we should explore. I think this is something that needs to be talked about more. And, I understand that we aren't Dana and I aren't talking on a big platform. I mean, we're on a big platform. It's just I don't, like I said, I'm not crazy. I don't expect this to blow up overnight. But the more Tea Talk episodes we have, we want to delve into these questions. We want to have these conversations. Because these are things that like have been stigmatized in our culture now to where it's like, oh, you can't talk about these things. Well, why? Why can't I talk about these things? Is it because that these are actual problems that we want to bring up, that we want to solve? Is it because we're the only generation or we're the only group that understands that these issues are prevalent? And I know we're not. So I would really, really hope and that others that agree and that see these problems that Dana and I are seeing, come here and ask these questions because we really want to give a different viewpoint than what people are used to. So many people are used to a binary viewpoint, a binary, speaking of like political parties, for example, like you're just left or you're just right. Like nobody has like nobody looks at every aspect of it anymore. That's a big problem because I try to look at both, and I do look at both. It's just a lot of the things now. It's becoming so stupid. It's like come on, like you're just arguing for the sake to argue. I mean, there's some things that work, there's some things that don't. Why don't we talk about the things that work and do those things, implement those things because we know they work? Or like, it's so stupid. And it's like I don't want people talking about like, oh, dude, well, communism is cool, man. It's like awesome. Has it ever worked? No. Will it ever work? No. So how about we just stop talking about it? How about you make a new system, right? People are always saying, "Oh, we need a new system. Let's go to communism." That's not a new system. It doesn't work. It's tried. It's true. It does not fuck. It does not work. Period. Think of something new then. Do something new. Build something new. We used to be innovators. What happened to that? We don't innovate shit anymore. Like, do you agree with that? Like, what happened to like every year there was some new big technology that's like blowing up? There's finally one this year. Finally, AI started exploding, and you know how excited I was about that. Like, oh, maybe like innovation's back. Maybe we're gonna start to see like these status quos changing in the technology field, stuff like that. No, it's like now everybody's stupid with AI. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you had a golden ball there. Like you were just about to catch it, and it's like a bird flew into your face and you missed it. It's like
Well, now they're replacing innovation with AI rather than using AI to innovate.
I think
So,
I think that's a two-sided argument too. I think that it can go either way. I
well,
think
there's let's just say it this way: the vast majority are using it to not do anything that's
yeah.
useful,
I think you
and there's
can.
very few that are.
I think there's a difference between originally creating original content using AI as a tool and creating original content using AI as your only source to create that original content. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean that's that. Like AI is it's such. I mean AI. Me and you can say for an entire episode within itself, almost.
yeah, we should.
We should. That should be next week. That should be next week.
Yeah,
Oh, guys, yeah, T Talk's on a new day now. We're on Tuesdays now.
yep.
Tuesdays
Because the schedule had to change for us.
at 7:10 on Tuesdays,
Hmm.
which means we shouldn't be in a comp game at 7 o'clock.
Okay, inform me next time.
I
But yeah,
will,
I mean,
I will.
anyone that like disagrees or has
I'm sorry. I'm just
in
kind
the
of caught up. I'm
comments,
caught up. I'm caught up in
okay,
that.
hold on. In the comments, like mention your opinions as well. Like I want to
Yes.
see people that have differing opinions or people that agree and why you agree.
Yeah.
Because I think that all this stuff is things that need to be talked about and um I like to have an open mind going into a lot of this and I like to hear what other people think. So
Yeah.
I think you would think the same thing.
100%. 100%. I want people, even if you don't agree with us, like tell us. Like I would
And why you
really,
don't
really
agree.
love, like we're not gonna like judge you for not agreeing. Like we want to know your point of view. We want to know why you think the way that you do. We want to know the reasons. I feel like so many people get too defensive too quickly, and it's like, oh, I don't agree with you. You're bad. I'm gonna stop talking to you. No, that's what we're trying to avoid. Like we want there to be an open platform, and that's going to be our comment section. If you guys have questions, you want us to talk about something on next week, we'll do that. When we start getting more of these comments rolling in, I want to talk about the stuff that you guys are asking first, and then we'll talk about the stuff that Dana and I want to talk about. I want to be able to have that kind of forum where you guys can like ask us stuff, and we look at that stuff. Like I said, we're small. We're a small show here. T Talk is a small show, so like we want you guys to ask us questions because we want to be able to grow and we want to be able to answer your questions to the best of our ability, and so you guys can see how maybe we think and how it differs with your thinking. Maybe by listening, you guys will enjoy what we're saying. Maybe you'll think, oh, that's actually not that bad of an idea. So yeah, I have that as a mission. Everybody who watches this, ask one question. Ask one question, or tell us if you agree. Tell us if you don't agree. Tell us why. Explain. And Dana, how do you feel about that?
100%.
Hondo Percento?
Yep.
Is that all? I think we covered everything. Do you have anything?
No, I think that was a good conversation.
It was
Look
a
forward
great
to next week.
conversation. All right, I look forward to next week as well, guys. You know who we are. I'm T Plays. That's Autism Music. I'm Tasso. That's Dana. And we'll see you guys next week for T Talk episode 4 on AI and user comments. Have a great night, everybody. Day, whenever you're watching this, afternoon, evening. All right, I'm done. Bye.